the missing link, once you understand what those needs are, you're provided these high level strategies, is how do I actually create that action plan? So that we have fixed for you. And we are on the verge of launching the People Powered Portal. Again, a free resource, because ultimately the book, the podcast, the culture check, and now the People Powered Portal are all in the spirit of enabling us and fueling our mission to create or contribute to the creation of as many happy, productive workplaces as possible. Welcome to the People Powered Solutions podcast. In this show, you'll gain expert advice and tips on building a thriving workplace culture with happy employees. I'm your host, Lorianne Duguay, and I'm thrilled to be spending this time with you today. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the People Powered Podcast. Folks, this week we are doing it differently. We are putting a pause on our Secret Sauce series, that series that is showcasing companies that are doing some really wonderful things when it comes to workplace culture. I'm taking a pause to first reflect and showcase some of the amazing stuff we were able to work on and bring to fruition in 2023. I know I'm a little late to the gate. It is Valentine's Day as I'm recording this today, hence the very red outfit if you're watching us and catching this on YouTube. If you're not, don't worry about it. Don't look it up. It's very red and it looks like, I'm definitely dressed in theme for Valentine's Day. So definitely want to reflect on the last year as well as share some exciting news about some of the things that we've been working on in the upcoming year. So that's basically how we're going to roll. That's what this episode is about. It's to talk to you not only about workplace culture, what are some of the things we were able to build to support you in igniting your very own and actually undertaking your very own workplace culture transformation, as well as give you a sneak peek of things to come, and definitely want you to know that our mission at the end of the day is to ultimately create as many or contribute to the creation, because we know we're not actually contributing it. We're not actually building all of these workplace cultures. It's on you. Our job is to give you the cape, to provide you with the tools to become that hero and deliver on transforming a workplace culture and actually creating a workplace culture where people want to not only stay, they want to stay and thrive. They understand they're part of a bigger picture and they absolutely want to stay there to see the beautiful things the company will collectively be able to make happen. So that is what our episode is about. Likely will not be a 30-minute episode, but let's get this party started by talking about 2023. So when I started this mission of wanting to improve on as many workplace cultures as possible, using my own corporate experience as fuel to ensure that we are creating environments, work environments, or contributing to the creation and design of work environments that will ultimately never leave someone feeling unseen, unheard, or undervalued. Small feat, right? I was aware that it was a huge feat and that my footprint and impact as a solo entrepreneur could only be so big. That's why very early on in this business adventure, I started to grow my team. I started to recognize where there might be room to expand our scope of reach, to be able to help more organizations by internally building the capacity we need to support these workplace transformation projects that we were taking on. So 2023 was really about growing our team, but also figuring out how can we get this very simple information, how can we educate people on the 10 basic employee needs that once they're met will be game changing, because you will see the level of performance, the high retention, the reduced turnover that you need to become successful as a business. How can we educate people, but also explain these are the 10 needs and give them a model to work with to start their very own transformation. So again, removing ourselves somewhat from the equation in that we recognize we can only help so many clients. However, if we're able to educate and give these people tools and resources, then they can take ownership and ignite their very own transformation. So that's what 2023 was about. First step was I started 2023 thinking I might write a book one day. By February 2023, I was like, I think I need to write a book to be able to get this information into the hands of as many people as possible. So wrote The Happiness Factor, which took me weirdly just under a year to have it see the light of day and published in August 2023. Now, so that was one of the journey to get this information into more people's hands, was to write the book. Part of that journey, I was also guesting on a number of different podcasts. And every single time they would say, well, why don't you have your own podcast to be able to populate these concepts, to be able to explain these things to individuals, to companies, and again, broaden your scope of reach. And I was like, man, I'm okay with doing doing the guest thing at the moment. Couldn't even fathom, as I was already in the midst of trying to write that book, couldn't even fathom navigating, having to coordinate a podcast, put it together. What does that even look like? Well, I have a dynamite team that was able to kind of partner with me on that one. And we were able to produce and launch our very first episode of, initially, we were the People Powered Solutions podcast. We've now morphed just to People Powered Podcast. Why? Because we just want people to be more people powered, and we want to provide them with the tools and insights they need to do just that. So launched our podcast in May. So book is being written, finalized by May. We launch our first podcast. It does really well. The first few episodes were really about bringing in experts on a variety of topics, all relevant to workplace culture. We wanted to give you further insights, tips, strategies. My rule when I had guests on then was, I need you to keep it simple and provide, a handful of tips, actual strategies that they can walk away from listening to this episode and start to implement immediately. So we did that for some time, then started to think that we can give all this information, all these insights, bring in all these experts, but somewhere I want to make sure that people don't think that this is unachievable. I want to make absolutely sure that people realize that there are companies out there who have already understood the assignment. They're already doing some great things when it comes to culture. So in the fall, after we'd now officially launched the book, we decided to take a further pivot. Towards the end of the fall, right into the early winter months, we decided to pivot to showcase companies that are doing culture really, really well. So we launched the Culture Secret Sauce series, where we started to showcase some of these companies and CEOs who are sharing some of the practices, the strategies that they do themselves to create that unicorn culture, if you will, that place where people are excited to go to work every single day, where they feel like they're part of something bigger than just that perhaps mundane, operational, very, routine task they do on a daily basis. It's about creating that family feel. It's about creating that overall sense of belonging. Where you feel you can be honest with each other, you can hold each other accountable, and you can work together in the achievement of this broader collective result you're working towards, right? There are companies out there who are already doing this right. So we, of course, pivoted the podcast to be able to reflect that and to be able to start to showcase some of these companies to show people that this is doable. This is not rocket science. Most of the tips that are shared from our CEOs, from our guests, are tips that are absolutely implementable the minute you're done listening. So that was a further pivot we did, and that occurred on our podcast throughout the past few months. Now, when we're working with clients, I'll be quite honest. When our team is working with clients, we basically walk through that same methodology repeatedly. We start by first educating them, helping them understand what are the needs that need to be met at work. Then we map out their current state, because you can only improve on what you're aware of. So that being said, it's important for organizations to take the time to pause and assess, where are we at right now, and measure, how are we currently providing for these needs? Then we start to work on action planning and creating a project and a number of initiatives that will effectively improve on a number of different provision for those needs at a number of different points within an employee's journey, within that company's organization or that company's general kind of structure. That's how we work with clients. one of the things that we often heard from prospective clients, from people that we were just presenting or educating when I'm doing some keynote speaking and I'm talking about these 10 basic needs, I get asked, how do I know? How can I know, like, in a quick way, where our company measures up in reference to providing for these needs? Well, we heard them. And in the fall last year, we developed this awesome tool. Seriously, folks, if you haven't checked it out, take the time to go out there and check it out. It is literally the easiest way to get that quick measure insight that you need to understand where you should be prioritizing your focus, energy, and resources. So it's 20 questions. It's a free tool that's available on our website, and we'll put all the links into the show notes. But essentially, we're talking, you'll want to visit www.bepeoplepowered.com. Why? Because we want people to be people powered. Within our website, you can then check out, obviously, all of the different sections, but you'll want to navigate towards the happiness factor, which is the title of our book, of my book. And when you click on that, there'll be a drop down and you'll see that happiness factor culture check. That's what you want to click on. It's 20 questions. You're going to answer 20 yes or no questions. The assessment tool is rooted in the symptoms that will show up when a certain need is being neglected, and or symptoms that will demonstrate that you are providing for a need really well. So don't expect it to be an all or nothing. We have done a blend in order for it to really be robust and really be reflective and provide you with some value added insights that will inform where you prioritize your strategy moving forward. So you take that 20 yes or no question survey. It will take you maximum 3 minutes. Then you press submit. When you press submit, you have the ability to view your results live, or you can also email the results to yourself, or you can do both. The results will be presented as follows. You will have a section. Of course, we're mirroring the beautiful image on the top of my book, which demonstrates kind of that spectrum of happiness from like red, please fix now, through to green. You're doing an amazing job on this, right? So we have mirrored that same spectrum and have the needs categorized within your results on 3 colors. So green, you're doing a great job on these specific needs based on your answers. Keep doing that. Yellow is your not quite the time to intervene, but here are some of the needs that we've picked up on might require a bit of tending to. And then the red are the needs that are the please fix these now, because ultimately not keeping these needs on your radar, not intentionally investing into improving on the work environment to accommodate the provision of these needs is absolutely costing you money. And at the end of the day, it is reducing your bottom line. So knowing that, you can then start to think about, and within your results, we decided to also give strategies. I'm all about quick, simple, easily implemented, low to no cost strategies that can be implemented the minute you're done using or listening to one of our episodes or reading my book. Well, with this tool too, we've got suggestions right there. Now, that's suggestions to kind of from a very high level. Here are some of the things you can be working on, which is great to at least start and ignite that workplace culture transformation. Next to that is what we're about to launch. We are about to launch something that is so incredible, and I'm so proud of our team for pulling this together, folks. It is game-changing. I feel like when I initially decided to write the book, it's because there was a lot out there that was telling you the what. What drives motivation? What do employees need at work? There was a lot of that what. There was the what. There was the what. What was missing was the now what. I wanted to write the book on the now what. I know this is what they need. I know this is what drives motivation, performance at work. I know that it's costing me money not to be providing this. What do I do about it? Then we wrote the happiness factor to tell you some of the ways that you can start to implement it. It's where we introduced our 3M model, which People Powered 3M model is all about ensuring that you're first measuring where you're at, figuring out where there's room for improvement. you're mapping out your current state and identifying further continuous improvement kind of opportunities. And then you are mobilizing people and initiatives to get this stuff up and running to literally actually evolve, transform your workplace culture into that unicorn culture, if you will. Okay, so that my book was the Now What. Awesome. This culture check is now allowing you to quickly measure and implement one of those M's that we talked about. So you understand where you might want to be focusing your resources, your effort, because we know you're busy folks, and that culture, although it's not top of mind, I wish it was for everyone. Other business urgencies tend to take priority. So if we put it into these small manageable bites, like tackling one need at a time, or maybe having initiatives that tackle in and of themselves more than one need at a time, then Bob's your uncle, as they say, in terms of having a plan and then just figuring out how we divide and conquer to actually implement that plan. The missing link, once you understand what those needs are, you're provided these high level strategies, is how do I actually create that action plan? So that we have fixed for you. And we are on the verge of launching within the next week, by the time this episode airs, the People Powered Portal. Again, a free resource, because ultimately the book, the podcast, the culture check, and now the People Powered Portal are all in the spirit of enabling us and fueling our mission to create or contribute to the creation of as many happy, productive workplaces as possible. What is the People Powered Platform, you ask? Other than it being a great alliteration. My team laughs at me all the time. We go to, when we're starting to come up with names, I just gravitate to that alliteration piece. When we were trying to figure out the name of that platform, when we were trying to figure out the name of another certification, which I'll give you a glimpse down the line, I'm always about the PPP. There's something about it that just brings me back every single time. So what is the People Powered Platform other than being a great alliteration? It is actually a powerful tool for companies to use. So think about, you do your culture check, you've completed your assessment, you know exactly where you need to start addressing the most pressing acute needs that aren't being met. You've got some high level strategies in the results, but then you actually want to build your action plan. Well, look no further. In our People Powered Portal, you'll be able to sign on. It is kind of a private portal, but it's free to join. Once you join, the landing page will have all the needs identified. You click on the need that you want to know more about and you need to improve on. And there is an action plan that you can develop per need. Within each action plan page of each need, you have everything you need, information, insights to start to measure, map, and mobilize. We've got everything from strategies that have worked with clients, specific ideas, reflective questions you want to be asking yourselves to kind of perform that self-audit to figure out where and how you might start to implement some of these improvements. We've embedded forms where you can complete your action plan and then send it to yourself so you can commit to actually carrying it out and bringing some of those ideas to fruition. We also are including a number of resources, links to some of the episodes that we may have already showcased about a specific topic, or that provides insights on how to provide more for that specific need. All of those articles have been curated per need. They're different per need. The resources on every one of those 10 needs pages are crazy helpful and should set you up for success in terms of not only understanding and getting the insight you need to see where you need to start focusing your energy, but then having the toolkit. The People Powered Portal is your toolkit to navigating and actually doing something about what you've identified and what you've found out. You will be able to build that action plan. You will be able to peruse different articles of interest. You will have that one-stop shop to think about and reflect on how you could be doing better for your team members, how you can start to improve on every stage. And when I'm talking about the map, so every page is broken up. Let's talk about one specific page. I know, Lori, you're all over the map here. Get your ideas all in one hat. Okay, here I go. So under one page, you will have, for example, of course, we follow our methodology. We give you some quick tips, 3 quick pointers to start improving on this immediately. This is the stuff that you want to be doing. There you go. Pew. Then we talk about the first step of the process. And within that first step, we talk about measuring and how can you measure? What are different ways that people do measure and what are different tools they use, be it surveys, be it focus groups. We talk about specific metrics that are relevant to that need that you're going to want to start to track and measure in order to continuously improve on your provision for that need to your team members. So we really deep dive into that with lots of material there. You can kind of expand on each of those sections to understand them a bit more. Then we talk about mapping. The mapping section is divided by those kind of key touch points throughout a person's journey, an employee journey within your organization, where you're likely to see them either go or stay. So we talk about recruitment. We talk about onboarding and orientation. We talk once they're fully trained. We talk about once they're already in shopping mode. And that's a term from my book, The Happiness Factor, where people are disengaged. They're clearly, looking for other options. And little nugget of wisdom here, folks. 1 in 4 of your current employees are already in shopping mode and they're already eyeballing that exit. So there are strategies there to help you kind of get them re-engaged and to help them fall back in love with your company and your broader mission and vision as an organization to get them back to that highly engaged state and then through to exit. So these are kind of those touch points throughout an employee's journey that we cover. And for each and every one of those 10 needs, we highlight those key touch points and provide you with questions and tips and tricks and strategies to do better and to provide these to first assess, I guess, how your different elements and practices and exercises through our questions you'll see are providing for that need. And if not, there are tips and strategies to do that better. And the last section is mobilize, where we actually give you tips, ideas that have worked with other clients. At the end of the day, the final section is all about your action planning, and you're building your plan and you can submit it to yourself to hold yourself accountable to delivering on it. You want to be committing to actually contributing and initiating and being that catalyst for change, being that culture catalyst, which is the title I've self-appointed myself within your own company. There is no reason for you not to invest in your people, not to invest in your business success ultimately, because we've now provided you with the launch of that portal with the tools you need to do that. So go out there and definitely check it out. By the time this show airs, we might not be live yet. We're probably only in the mode because we're initially going to be launching this with sneak peek access to some of our past podcast guests, as well as other clients that we have interacted with, to make sure that it is truly bringing the value that we initially intended when we put this product together. Then we are going to move on to that worldwide launch, at which point anyone who wants to join that portal, even if you're an employee who knows you're stuck, you don't really understand why, you do the assessment maybe to decide whether or not where you see there's room for improvement in your company. And then you work with your supervisor, your manager, with your team to see how we can continuously improving. So as that employee or that team member, you can become the champion of change within your organization using the tools and the model included in that portal. Or as a company leader, as a CEO yourself, as a company leader, you have the tools to, again, help you not only understand what might be at play, but then make a plan and implement that action plan in order to truly affect and improve on your workplace culture. So with that being said, I am going to wrap this episode up, but that is, oh no, I can't wrap this episode up without talking about that next thing I kind of alluded to earlier. So we talked about that other name we were trying to toy with. Well, we have come up with it. And ultimately, we have decided that the way that we're going to achieve the level of change in the world of work that we seek is we're only a team of, a handful of people. What we have now decided to do is offer a certification. So a professional certification that organizations could send individuals from their company to, and we will train them on how to become people powered. So the people powered professional certification, of course I had to go with my alliteration again, will be launching, and the first installment will be happening as early as May 2024. So keep your eyes on your inbox, keep your eyes, and make sure to subscribe and follow us on all social media if you don't want to miss out on sending one of your team members or maybe a couple of your team members who can then be educated and trained on how to effectively change and transform your workplace culture. Then they can come back after 3 days and be set up for success to make sure that you're able to create that unicorn culture that will attract and keep the people you need to thrive in that new world of work. So stay tuned, keep your eyes peeled, make sure to follow us and subscribe to all things people powered solutions to not miss out if and when we make that announcement. Now, if you're listening to this episode and we've yet to launch the People Powered portal, which should be accessible through our main website, www.bepeoplepowered.com. If you're not seeing it there, send us a DM, send us a private message or an email to info@bepeoplepowered.com. So that's info@bepeoplepowered.com, and we'll make sure to give you early access to that powerful platform so that you yourself can start taking ownership of that workplace culture and start to ignite your very own transformation. Thanks for listening, folks. Well, folks, thanks for joining us for yet another enriching conversation. To hear more about today's guests, make sure to check out the links in the description of this episode. Want to continue the conversation? Then head on over to our social media platforms, all of which are also linked in the description, to keep it going. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to make sure you don't miss another valuable episode.